Got to get this place decorated, man. Looking good with the Orange Crush helmet behind you there, Chad. I'm a little jelly, as the kids would say.
I've got a good story behind that bad boy too. But we're just connecting Facebook. Y'all know the drill. Got to let it breathe just for a minute, and we're going to get things cooking. Luke, you're the man, dude. Your show, rock and roll.
Boom, boom. It is my show. It's not anything to be confused about. No alarms, nothing like that. It's good news. Chad Jensen is in the house rocking with me here on MHI, where we rock every 6 p.m. Mountain. And what a week it's been here in Broncos country. It's been transaction week, if you will. Players in, players out, players that we need to watch for. And we have a big, exciting show. Tom is on his final vacation before it gets going here because, Chad, as you know, Labor Day weekend right around the corner. Once Labor Day weekend's over, it's time for football, baby.
I know, dude. We're almost there, and I like the way it's working out to where you get the big weekend, the big 3-day weekend, and then it's that work week leading into the kickoff. And I don't know. I think it's shaping up well. The Broncos, they've got their initial roster set, Luke. They got today that they've confirmed 16 re-signings, all of them, at least in this case. Every guy that they signed to the practice squad was on the 90-man roster. Stoked to go through it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to get to your reactions. Everyone has an opinion. Who do you like? Who are you left scratching your head about? And what else would you like to see Sean Payton do? If there's one thing we know about Sean, he is truly unpredictable. He's always on the hunt for making this roster bigger and better. We also have an injury report that we got to get to a little bit, if you will. Potential Broncos starting wide receiver stumbled just a little bit. Should we be concerned? We will let you know. But before we do that, let's say hello to some of the folks in the stream. It's MHI. You can catch us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain. Head on over to the mothership at milehighhuddle.com. Chad and Zach and all of the guys have their latest up right now, including the Broncos' initial 53-man roster. And as Chad alluded to, we're going to get into the practice squad today because there were a couple players I was wondering about. Hey, what happened? I thought they had a really good training camp. They eventually circled back around. Before we kick off any of that, a quick couple of shout outs. I got to give a happy birthday shout out to our dear friend and fellow MHH member, Jeremy T-Dog in the house. Jeremy had a wonderful birthday yesterday. We are big into shout outs. Asked for one specifically on this show. This is for you, Jeremy. Thank you for all your support, and thank you for being such a badass member of Broncos country. Also wanted to give thoughts and prayers to the Ronk. I don't know if you saw this, Chad. It's storming out there in Arizona. Dust storms. Yeah. So we take care of our own here at MHH. Wanted to give a couple of shout-outs to some of the giants in our MHH community.
Tucson Phil's down there as well. Phil McLaughlin and Ian, who goes by Proud Zennial. And he schooled me up. I met Ian about 2 weeks ago when Bridge the Gap was down there for
concert.
Fun.
Yeah.
And he said Arizona is Broncos country. He even gave me a sticker and a bunch of this stuff that you see behind me now. But Papa Bear, dude, great to see you, brother. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a member. Really stoked. And as always, dude, couldn't do it without you and your support, big dog. So thank you. And looking forward to hopefully seeing you at the meet and greet week 7. It's going to be here before you guys know it. And let's get to that real quick, Luke. Burning everybody's ears. They got to know what's going on with Marvin Mims Jr. Michael Davis wants to know. Thanks, pal, for being in the chat with us. And let me remind you, by the way, Michael, become a member of MHH. You can become a member and support what we're doing for $3 a month. There's also a higher level if you'd like to, but that gives you access to all the premium content, members only, that we're doing. And we prioritize you in the chat every single live stream, like our boy String guy, aka Roger, we're going to get here in just a second. But Luke, what we know about Mims Jr., groin, left practice early. It's a groin. Sean Payton said that they're not, quote, overly concerned. So that's really all we know up to this point.
Timing is everything, not only in the NFL, but in this life, as you know, Chad. And I can't help but scratch my head a little bit and wonder. Now, Mike, very good source of the team, right? Jeff Legwold was reportedly also in on this story. And I believe Sean when he says, I'm not overly concerned. However, there is some gamesmanship about this whole thing. I can't help but think, wasn't it just last week on this very show of the Broncos decided to trade a wide receiver away? Maybe one of those wide receivers that could potentially fill in for a banged up wide receiver. I don't think this is anything to panic about. We try to see both sides of the coin here on MHI every Wednesday night. So that's why I allude to the Devon Bailey thing. Look, I think it's a quick tweak. Let's take the long weekend. Let's everyone sit on the couch, get in the ice bath, get in the training room, and relax. Broncos country, you're good to go. Sean Payton likes to lean on caution rather than risk, especially 10 days out from your first NFL game? I mean, come on.
True. It doesn't seem to be a big deal, but I got to tell you, Luke, we'll get to the practice squad. With Mims going down, my kind of heartburn over Courtney Jackson, who passed through waivers. He decided, nah, I'm not going to re-sign with the Broncos practice squad. I'm going to go sign with the Seattle Seahawks, I believe, practice squad. Right about now would be at least a modest comfort. If there is anything really going on with Mims, to know Jackson was still on the roster, but that's not how it is.
Well, and here's the thing. I think that's a good point to bring up. You look at other guys who had good plays and big impactful moments in training camp, your training camp journal that I'm reading over at milehuddle.com. What happened to Newton, Davis, Rowan, right? They each all those four guys all had their moments, yet we're left scratching our head a little bit. Now, I think Broncos country, and maybe it's just me, has a little bit of PTSD when it comes to a wide receiver getting hurt in training camp, at the end of training camp. And yes, I'm talking about Tim Patrick, who, by the way, is apparently a Jacksonville Jaguar. I don't know if Broncos country saw this today. The Lions dealt Tim Patrick to the Jags for a 6th round pick in 2026. I don't know. Maybe it's a lot of overreaction because we've been burned with starting wide receivers going down in the past. That wasn't this today. It was a minor tweak. He didn't finish practice. We'll see what coach says here in a couple of days.
Yeah, hopefully it's a lot of nothing. He's got, even if it is a tweak, pardon me, something going on with that groin. He's got almost, we'll call it a week and a half. He's got a week and a half to rest up and get right. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But it is kind of interesting, Luke, how multiple of the young receivers, the undrafted guys who were waived, passed through waivers, Jackson's one of them, Joaquin Davis reportedly, they're like, nah, we're going to seek our fortune elsewhere. They didn't want to come back to the practice squad in Denver. And I think that's emblematic and a sign, in other words, of it's a deeper wide receiver core at the top that's on the roster than I think a lot of people may have realized before this offseason and training camp really got going.
100%. And I would encourage everybody, head on over to milehighhuddle.com. There's an article up by Chad Jensen right now issuing the practice squad, what it looks like as it sits this second. 16 total spots. We're all under the impression, based on all the reports, everything has been filled as of today. But Chad, as you know, things can change very quickly in the matter of minutes, let alone hours over the nighttime. You look at the wide receiver position when it comes to the practice squad, and I'm all right with getting A.T. Perry back and Michael Bandy. How about that? So maybe it's not all doom and gloom. Yes, we miss Devon Bailey. Yes, we're slightly nervous about Marvin Mims and a minor groin issue. But again, good 10 days to rest. Labor Day weekend. I hope nobody gets in trouble. Mind your P's and Q's over there in Denver. I hope nobody's traveling too crazy. But I think when you look at what Michael Bandy and A.T. Perry have done, not only in training camp, but in the preseason, these are two wide receivers I'm really happy to have on Sean Payton's practice squad. And I always think it's a stroke of luck, sometimes a stroke of genius, if some of these guys pass through waivers and you're able to get them back.
No doubt. It is interesting, the receivers that ended up coming back to the Broncos on the practice squad. And I have to wonder if guys like Courtney Jackson, Joaquin Davis, those two in particular, maybe not Davis, because he was amongst the first cuts. That's usually not a sign that the team is all that interested in bringing him back. But guys like Bandy, I know he's a coaching favorite. He never quite makes the roster, but they like having him around. A.T. Perry, still waiting for him to even do enough to get pictured in a Broncos uniform. He still has never even been really pictured in a Broncos uniform. But real quick, Luke, for the sake of posterity, here is the practice squad. 16 guys, Lavelle Bailey back in the fold, the aforementioned Michael Bandy, quarterback Sam Ehlinger, Caleb Lohner, the 7th round rookie, let not your hearts be troubled. He's back in the fold. Joe Mikowski, interior center, interior guard. Jordan Miller, the big defensive tackle. Quentin Newsom, the corner. Perry has mentioned, the receiver. Adam Prentice, the fullback, because, of course, Michael Burton's on season-ending injured reserve. Then you got another cornerback who impressed me this summer, Luke, and Jaden Robinson, undrafted out of Oregon State. Keydron Smith, Reese Taylor, corner, Calvin Throckmorton, the big guard, who ended up being kind of the second best interior swing guy after Nick Gargiulo went down. Then 3 more: Jordan Turner, the other impressive undrafted rookie linebacker; Dellerin Turner-Yell, former draft pick, still in the fold; and then inside linebacker veteran, 4th year, Garrett Wallow.
Yeah, it's nice to see the Broncos trying to work on developing depth on the offensive line. It's something that we've been alluding at this publication to for years that has escaped the Broncos, and it's been a problem. You got to have a farm system, if you will, and I get it. I love Dalton Reisner too. I love that he's a Cincinnati Bengal because it means we don't have to have the conversation. The Broncos should sign Dalton Reisner. Noah Fant, everybody. You just can't have these retreads coming in and out of here unless they're New Orleans Saint. Sean seems to be down with it. Speaking of down with it, our guy String Guy is always down with it. An exclusive member of the MHH community, guys. Head on over to our channel and subscribe today. Good evening, MHI and Broncos country. I saw earlier there were 12 players signed so far to the practice squad, including Ellinger, Lohner, and Bailey. Not sure if there have been any other moves since this afternoon. Well, rest assured, String Guy, you can head on over to milehighhuddle.com, and we are recapping some of those moves. Let's talk quarterback. Everybody likes to talk quarterback. I thought this was an interesting caveat, and I will ask Broncos country and Chad Jensen this question right now. One, Mike Kliss reported that Sam Ellinger was offered multiple positions on the 53-man roster among other NFL teams wanting to court the third-string quarterback. He said, no, I don't want to be it. I don't want to do it. I do not want to be on an active 53. I'm going back to Denver. And it was reportedly because, this is coming from Kliss, he likes Sean Payton's offense, and he's bullish on Bo Nix. Are you buying what Mike Kliss is reporting? And I'm not going after Kliss, but this was a head scratcher for me because we all know the Broncos are all in on Bo. They're all in on Sean Payton. Jarrett Stidham is the backup quarterback darling in the preseason. What's Sam Ellinger's future look like on a Broncos squad? Why would he turn down a 53-man spot? Something's fishy here.
It is weird. I didn't catch that tweet from Kliss, but if he really had genuine other teams willing and ready to sign him to their 53-man rosters, it is kind of curious. I mean, I guess if I'm trying to view this as genuinely as possible, I guess, Sean Payton's system is just that amazing. I mean, it's not, though. I don't know.
It gets you opportunities to play devil's advocate, and I think that's where you're going with, right? Like, look at Zach Wilson, and I know everybody can laugh at what's going on there in Miami. It got him another opportunity, and we don't know what the depths of that rehab looks like. Again, it's different for every coach. It's different for every player and the situation that they're going to, but maybe that could be a potential prospect in there. Like, hey, look what Sean's did for some of these other quarterbacks, Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, who are still floating around.
That's true. I mean, there is that interest, but you're stepping over dollars. If that's true and you're Ellinger, you're stepping over dollars to pick up dimes because your quarterbacking career is finite. And if you have an opportunity to go earn a veteran salary on a 53-man roster relative to what, I mean, they don't make chump change on the practice squad. Don't get me wrong, but it's less than half of what they would make on a 53-man roster. So that I don't get. But it all comes down to, I'm sure, Luke, the things you just mentioned, the fact that Peyton's scheme, the shine that his quarterbacks tend to get from the rest of the league, you might be able to parlay that into a bigger, better opportunity, etc. Maybe he's been told that, hey, we'll use up a few elevations, dress you as the third emergency quarterback, and then we'll eventually bring you on to the 53. He might have assurances in that vein. By the way, Mr. Producer, 3 times more money to be on the active roster. Thank you for clarifying that for me, my friend. And guys, we have so much more to get to. But first, listen, football season, baby, it is basically back. And Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog, guys, it's really easy. You download the app first and foremost, and then you simply just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. So, like, as an example, 200 yards. Is Bo Nix going to throw for more or less? You choose that.
Boom. That's right. Look, guys, you get your picks right, you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. So if you think you've got a bead on what Bo Nix or any other Broncos starter is going to go for in week 1, please head on over to Underdog, download underdog.com and win some money.
That's right, guys. It's a lot of fun. Not only will it edify you and make watching football and the Broncos that much more enthralling and entertaining, but the chance to win money, I mean, that's a touchdown. So download the Underdog app today. Sign up with our promo code MHuddle to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? That's the question. Underdog, make picks, win money.
Scored.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1.
Boom, boom, boom. Technical difficulties. Excuse us as we clean it up here just a little bit.
It's coming through all right. I think everybody got the gist of the disclaimers there. Ronk, though, I don't want Ronk feeling like we left him out in the cold or missed his super chat. We love you, big dog. Thank you. Luke, as you were.
Boom. What's up, Ronk? Thank you so much, man, for joining MHI every Wednesday night. You join every show, every single night. It means a lot to us. I know the Ronk is sitting tight with that Bo Nix jersey, ready to go week 1 against the Tennessee Titans here in Denver, Colorado. Good evening, Chad, Luke, and Scott on the Mile High Insiders. Go, Bo Broncos. It's that time of year, man. The kids are back in school right now. Football Fridays are around the corner. I want to start seeing some Broncos jerseys over on social media. Get at us at Mile High Huddle, at Luke Patterson LP, at Chad Jensen. Get at all of us and let us know how excited and which players you will be rocking, because, Chad, it's always interesting to me, man. I like to jersey watch. And whether we're at the tailgate, the MHH meet and greet party, training camp, the games, it's fun to see some Broncos jerseys that you wouldn't normally see. Off the top of my head, one of the coolest ones I think I've seen, a John Elway Stanford jersey at training camp. I know it's not quite a Broncos jersey, but it's kind of one of those, that's cool. You don't see those every day. Let us know. Head on over to social media. Be sure to tag us at Mile High Huddle as we get you ready for the regular season, because after Labor Day weekend, it is on. We are reacting to the practice squad fallout from the initial 53-man roster, and we have been rocking and rolling. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you don't like, how you're excited for this season, what the expectations are, and more. And Ronk piggybacking one more time because he can. Caleb Lohner made it back to the Broncos practice squad. This is a guy, Chad, I know you've had your eye on. I've been talking him up to Thomas, trying to sell him. I know he's raw. I know there have been Jimmy Graham comparisons from Sean Payton, which drives all of us crazy. But you were on Caleb Lohner watch yesterday, at least over on X. Tell me why. What do you think of this Caleb Lohner prospect coming out of Utah?
I like the tippity top. I mean, you really have to peer through the clouds to see this dude's ceiling. He's got a ridiculous athletic upside, but he is so raw and inexperienced that it's almost befuddles the mind that he's even on an NFL practice squad. Like, we had hopes going into the summer that, hey, man, maybe that little bit of time. I mean, what was it, Luke? 57 total snaps of Division I college football after a 5-year basketball career, which, hey, that's awesome, dude. You kicked butt at basketball, and all 4 of your receptions in college were touchdowns, but he just doesn't know anything about the position. And the hope was that the Broncos could kind of microwave that, get him through the worst of the learning curve throughout the offseason and summer. But by the time you got to the actual preseason games, man, it was pretty apparent that, especially from technique and blocking and just understanding and awareness, and it's all still so novel and new to him that he's like, his head's just spinning. He's swimming, right? So the Broncos could not, in good conscience, when they had other plenty serviceable tight ends, keep him on the 53. But I am encouraged to see Luke, that he passed through waivers. The Broncos re-signed him. So that Jimmy Graham comparison that Sean Payton alluded to multiple times during the offseason and training camp, there's still that possibility that he could get there. And not all 7th-round picks, by the way, Luke, or late-round picks even, make the 53-man roster. Matt Paradis is a good example. 6th-round guy, didn't make the 53 as a rookie, rode the practice squad rookie year, and then 2015, second year, comes out, wins the starting job. The rest is history. And even Nick Gargiulo, who was easily in line this summer to make the 53 before he got hurt, he was waived at the same point, re-signed to the practice squad. So there's still hope yet that Caleb Lohner now gets the time to really soak it all in and hopefully develop into something closely approximating what Sean Payton has been hyping all summer long.
That's a really nice way of saying he hasn't earned Sean Payton's trust, because you're exactly right. Otherwise, he would be on this 53-man roster. And while I review this tight end room that features 4 guys, the top 2, no surprise, he's got his joker, right? Hey, joker, everybody. And Evan Ingram, and then Adam Troutman, very serviceable tight end that Sean Payton loves. Nate Atkins, to me, isn't all that much different than Michael Burton, and I think they're going to use him in a very similar role. He should be ready to roll week 1. He's got an ankle thing going on right now, but expect him. He'll be there. Lucas Kroll, I kind of went after him last week, so I'll be a little bit nicer, but I hope to see a little something different. Broncos country, I think, is very impatient when it comes to these projects at the tight end position, because we haven't seen one really work out since Julius Thomas? I want to talk about basketball players? That's the last one I can really think of in terms of a project tight end. You had the Jake Butts of the world, the Jeff Hiremans, constantly lived in the training room.
True.
Noah Fant didn't quite work out. Greg Dulcich, he's hopping around. I saw the Giants just released him. So I think Broncos country is willing to be patient with this guy, this Caleb Lohner, who's supposed to have a redshirt year, if you will. This is the plan, but we'll see what it looks like as the season goes on. As you know, injuries can change absolutely everything. Just like our guy George Fox changes everything over on Facebook, coming in here and giving us some love on Wednesday night. Do you guys think they are still looking for anyone else? Hashtag Denver Broncos for life. Chad, what do you think? Who you got your eyes on?
Well, they're always looking, right? They're always the last 3-4 guys on the 53 and the last 5 guys on the practice squad. They never sleep too well during the season, right? Because the team is always looking for upgrades. But honestly, there's a reason this team had 2 guys claimed off waivers, multiple guys who passed through waivers signing elsewhere, including Audric Estime, decided, I don't want to go back to Denver, went through the waiver wire, said, I'm going to go sign with the Philadelphia Eagles practice squad. They didn't want me in Denver. Fine, I'm out of here. And he went to Philly.
And
for what it's worth.
He thought it was tough here in Denver, and you're going to Philly?
Yeah.
Good luck. And I said it in the private chat already. He's going to cry in practice there too. I mean, it's just absolutely, I hope he is active. Remember, week 5, right? The Broncos are supposed to hit the road. That's going to be a just Goliath of a match for the Denver Broncos. I know we're all excited about it, but you're right. Audric Estime to the Eagles. Didn't see that one coming, Chad.
True. So, as far as positions where they're weak, I don't really think right now. I think they're looking pretty good, but they'll always have an eye out on different spots, depending on also, Luke, as time marches on through the season, injuries dictate a lot of that kind of stuff. And right now, returner, wide receiver, something to monitor with Mims, even though we're being told it's not a big deal. But hey, Tyler Bidet, all of a sudden, a kick return specialist, knocking off 46-yard returns in the preseason finale. I don't know that he could do that, in fairness, Luke, as a punt returner. That's a different animal. But nevertheless, I like where this particular roster is at this point. I want to grab this from Leroy. Good to see you on Facebook, big dog. He says, what's up, guys? Looking forward to this season. On offense, we cannot afford to be one-dimensional. We have to be more balanced on offense and pound the rock. That's the only way teams will really fear us. Amen to that, Leroy. Luke, I got to ask you, were you at all alarmed, anxious with the Broncos' inability, especially the first team I'm speaking to really run the ball with authority in the 2 games where the ones got 3 possessions in each of those 2 games? How are you feeling about the run game?
I'm concerned because I don't know how much of it is rust, and I don't know how much of it is Sean not wanting to overplay his hand. You got to remember that Sean is a lot like Mike Shanahan in the sense that he's paranoid about everything. He's the ultimate competitor, right? I think those Eastern Illinois guys, they put something in the water out there, but I think he is sometimes a little too much caught up into the gamesmanship of things. So I don't know, maybe he's having someone else work on some play calls with him a little bit. Can we use that excuse? I'm absolutely concerned. What is this running back room supposed to look like? Audric Estime is not supposed to be here. So that was not a big surprise. But on this show, on your show, on every MHH show every week, I keep hearing about Jaleel McLaughlin. And he ends up in the 4-back running room behind J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, and above Tyler Bidet, I would assume. What's a Jaleel McLaughlin role supposed to look like on this offense? He's only as good as Sean Payton's going to allow him to be. When you look at his overall playmaking ability, I like it. Small, shifty, fast, hard to grab hold of. Don't you already have one of those guys in Marvin Mims, who, by the way, tweaked his groin today? Can you flex Jaleel McLaughlin out in a Marvin Mims-esque role? I'm not so sure. I've seen the handoffs, the Deebo Samuel treatment, if you will, to Marvin Mims, and it just feels at times, Chad, at least last year, that Sean was too busy trying to outsmart everybody instead of outwork everybody. And I know he puts the work in. I know this team, he demands the world, but I need him to keep it simple, Sean. Not saying stupid because Sean Payton's my boy. Keep it simple, Sean. Run the ball. I'm curious to see how Jaleel McLaughlin will be utilized in 2025.
Yeah, man, it'll take a little time getting that run game figured out because they also installed the new wrinkles for the outside zone. And I mean, if anything, I think the preseason just showed that there's going to be still a little bit of growing pains with regard to the run game, but they definitely upgraded. I mean, 50% of the running back room has turned over year. So out with Javonte, out with Estime, in with J.K. Dobbins and R.J. So I'm feeling better about that, but it's going to take a little time. Mike, one of our great members, says, I can't remember the last time I heard a team have 3 or more players tell them no thanks to the practice squad, and A.T. Perry is a legend. It is interesting. I'm curious why you think that might be, Luke. My own take on it is, once again, I think it's them putting their thumb in the air, which way's the wind blowing. They look at that roster and they go, I ain't cracking that, dude. I'm out of here. Like, I don't even think it's about up yours, you cut me, I'm leaving. Although maybe in Estime's case, a little bit. I think it's honestly just they know which way the wind's blowing and they think they have a better chance catching on in the NFL anywhere but Denver.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of being a younger player and being naive and maybe making an irresponsible decision. Or it could be knowing what's important to you and willing to risk it all on yourself. I don't know. I can't speak for these guys. I think to me it signals that the culture's change is so abundantly clear, like we've all thought it has been the last 2 seasons, that even the new guys who have only been here for a summer recognize this is a place where I want to be. This is a place where ownership is not going to skimp out on anything, from state-of-the-art training to nutrition to equipment. This ownership team has got your back. You will have everything you need. This team also rewards players that they draft with lucrative contract extensions. You've got 4 or 5 Broncos in the top 100, all young guys. George Paton, saw our guy Lance, write up a really good article about George. What's the future with George Paton hold? Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. You look at some of these things, man, and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't just orange and blue glasses. Maybe other guys and gals are recognizing this as well. And I went to X. I don't know why, Chad. I went to X and I saw the Chargers fan base, whatever they call themselves. What are they, Bolt Up? I don't even know. And they're like, oh, Broncos, off-season champs. Everyone seems to be drinking the orange and blue Kool-Aid, in the national media at least. It feels that way. And I don't trust it. But it's not because I don't trust Sean Payton. Maybe they're just a little late showing up to the party.
I agree. I mean, it always makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable when you start hearing about how great a roster looks in the offseason or before the regular season cleats have hit the grass. You think back to the ill-fated dream teams under Andy Reid and Philly and stuff like that. But guys, I wouldn't read too much into it. Once again, with Sean Payton's presence, that's the steadying factor here. So keep that in mind. Ralph, good to see you, brother. Appreciate you on Facebook showing some support. Also a great member on YouTube. He says, I'm late. Got a fantasy draft going right now. Good for you, big dog. Hope you draft well. Chad is a pleasant surprise. I'll catch the replay tomorrow. Awesome, dude. Thanks for throwing down some stars tonight, big dog. It's always great to see you. Let me see real quick here. Yeah, Yeah.
Fantasy football, man. That's come. I got a draft this weekend, man. It's sneaking up on me. I'm gonna need some help. Get at me, guys. At Luke Patterson LP. I got the #1 overall pick. Don't know what the hell I'm doing. I did finish 3 overall last year, but help me out. Head on over at Luke Patterson LP. Roy Osborne, good friend of the show. What is up, Roy? I can't remember, Chad. Did your guy Blake Watson make it through waivers?
He did, but he's kind of persona non grata because he was waived injured. So he accepted an injury settlement. I can't remember the exact strictures on it, but there's a little bit of time before he could come back. So I expect the Broncos, depending on how things shape up with the season and how long exactly it's going to take him to be eligible to come back. But I think the Broncos still want to keep him around in a perfect world. So it's another example, Luke, of how those last couple, 2, 3, 4, whatever spots on a roster and a practice squad, man, you got to be, you don't sleep too well in the early goings, especially because Blake Watson, I believe they're not done with him just by virtue, Luke, of how much money they guaranteed him last year. Now that's last year. It's on last year's books. That's ancient history, but it is illustrative of how they feel about him. And this summer, I think he took steps forward in preseason and, maybe didn't have the greatest finish in that Saints game only because he did get hurt with a little, I think it's a knee strain, if memory serves.
Well, and it's interesting to me just looking at the preseason as you recap the whole thing, training camp, if you will. It's all concluded, right? It's 3-0 preseason, undefeated. Here we come. The Broncos made it through relatively okay in terms of the health in the department of this team. And when you look at seasons past, I mean, we've all been there with the hamstring injuries. We've all written the IR injury articles when guys are going down. It's not happening right now, but some curious moves are still happening with the Broncos for me. And Sean Payton, I can't get a beat on this guy defensively on what he likes, Chad. I really can't. I'm still trying to get over drafting another corner after having the reigning defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain, but I'm not mad about it. I'm still confused. I'm waiting. The jury is out just for everybody. But then Sean goes and decides to carry 7 defensive linemen. And Tom's going to rub it in my face next week here on MHI. I already know. This guy Wuzurike, I was favoring Jordan Jackson, thinking it's got to be Jackson over Wuzurike.
Yeah.
Sean said, you know what? I'll take 2 of them. 7 defensive linemen for your Denver Broncos. Curious move by SP.
Well, I don't know if this is so much in Tom's defense, but 2 of his, guys that were going to take a big leap in 2025, Uwazurike and Bailey, one of them made the 53. The other one, he's still in the fold. Re-signed Lavelle was to the practice squad. So who knows? They might go back to him. But I got to tell you, dude, like, especially in what we saw and heard in training camp in the preseason games, I was surprised to see Karine Reed make the 53 over Lavelle Bailey. Lavelle Bailey, I thought as a player was more consistent. Now, 2 things that it sounds like gave Reed the edge for the roster. Number 1 was there was a lot of interest around the NFL in signing him. The Broncos really had to go all out to recruit him as a college free agent out of Utah. So they were worried that interest and scrutiny, pardon me, if they waived him was going to be bouncing right back up and they'd lose him. The other factor is Karine Reed, even though he maybe wasn't as consistent in the preseason games, Luke, he did get his fingerprints on 2 takeaways, which ain't nothing.
No, I was surprised as well. And I don't know, Chad, the Broncos scouting department, do they take up residence at Utah? Because they're getting some good defensive guys and they're getting them with lineage, right? Look at Jonah Ellis coming out of there last year with his dad, former pro, just like this young guy, man. His dad had a cup of coffee in the league for 3 seasons, man. This is good genes here for the Denver Broncos in Utah, man. I love them Utes, Chad. I love them Utes. Very special NFL prospects. Just like I love our guy, Gary Leeds Palmer. What's up, GLP? It has been a minute, man. Thank you so much for all your support. Happy football season to you and yours. Hopefully you can enjoy this Labor Day weekend with your orange and blue. Hey, Chad and Luke, I just think I get so excited, then I look for cracks where there is none. That freaks me out. Go Broncos. I'm with you, Gary. Sometimes I'm accused of worrying just a little too much. Chad, if I had to ask you, and I know you love positive energy, so does Tom. That's why we work so well together. He's the optimist. I'm the pessimist. You're filling that role tonight. What is your biggest worry when you look at this roster and the 2025 regular season that's coming up? Just 10 days away? Tennessee Titans coming to town on September 7th. What is your biggest worry? And should you really be trying to fix it this close to regular season game number 1?
Well, a mentor taught me a long time ago this phrase. It always sticks with me, that, like Gary's talking about here, if you look for a hole in the boat long enough, you'll find the hole in the boat. In other words, if you seek to find a negative angle or something wrong or the glass half empty, etc., you'll find it, because that's what you're looking for. Usually we find the things we're looking for. But honestly, the things that give me pause, 10 days before the season opener, I don't love the inside linebacker depth. All right. That's the one thing that has me a little bit. And it would be different, Luke, if the two guys poised to start didn't have such recent and relatively deep injury jackets, but Dre Greenlaw and Alex Singleton both come with a fairly long injury resume. So inside linebacker gives me a little bit of pause. And really, besides what we mentioned earlier of how quickly is this run game going to come together, those are the only things that give me much pause. But overall, I think in both instances, there's enough around this team that they can overcome them in the final analysis.
I like it. I teed you up perfectly for the one name, and you didn't say this name. It's because you're a lot better than I am, right? I like to take a few shots over on X, and you don't. You're a gentleman. You and Thomas Scott, all you guys are gentlemen. I get a little ornery here and there. What's going on with the punter, Jeremy Crawshaw? Chad, what is going on?
Dude, I can't believe I spaced that, man. I can't believe I spaced that.
I'm glad I saw you over on X the past couple of days, but keeping some tabs, trying to find some good material for this show here on Wednesday night. And I have to ask you, Chad, what is going on with Sean Payton and this rookie punter from Europe, Florida? Where the hell's he from?
Australia. Jeremy Crawshaw. And I can't believe I did space that, because I wrote about it last night on an article that published this morning. Here's what he did in the preseason. Now, remember, this is a guy, the Broncos invested a 6th round draft pick in him. That's unusual. Doesn't happen all that often for punters. But he went into the preseason. He ended up having a gross, not net, gross punting average of 44.5 yards. His net is a cringeworthy 35 yards per punt. What did Sean Payton say? Because a lot of fans earlier this week, Luke, when Zach and I were podcasting, like, hey, is Crawshaw even going to make it, or are they going to bring in some competition, etc.? And here's what Sean Payton said yesterday, as Crawshaw was obviously on the roster. He said, the plan is, quote, to keep working with him and developing him. I think we're going to be happy with him and his ability. And then he went on to opine here, Luke. This is very interesting, that, quote, it seems to always be that first punt, meaning the one that you're kind of going, ugh. So, quote, back to Payton, we're going to create some situations where right in the middle of practice, we'll have a punt before we get into punt period. The reality of it is you get an at-bat. You don't get 4 at-bats, 5 at-bats as a punter, right? He's saying, so trying to create those singular events for him, I think will help, close quote. I mean, watching him at the Senior Bowl, the talent is there, that leg, the accuracy, Luke. The biggest thing is, and this is something that new special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi talked about, is we just got to help him be consistent in the actual structure and format of the games. And Williams says, one of our great members, Crawshaw, he'll be fine. Just a rookie having a hard start.
Maybe that's it. And, not to keep bringing up old Broncos players, but sometimes it takes these guys longer than we would like. I can remember being the biggest hater, if you will, of Brandon McManus during his first tour with the Denver Broncos. What are the Broncos doing with this guy? And then he outlasted everybody. Won a Super Bowl 50. Super Bowl 50 alumni, was one of the last Broncos to kind of go from the old regime, from the old championship. So maybe Sean sees something that we don't. I tell you this, I hope it's not arrogance. I hope it's not, you know what, Chad? My defense is going to be so fine that I'm not too worried about punting. I hope that's not the approach, because at this stage, Sean Payton, I would run him out of town if that's how he feels about the special teams. You don't get to be in this position where Sean is at by overlooking special teams. He sees something in this rookie punter from Florida. I share the same concern as you. I think it may be a little naive to just say it's going to be fine. It will be fine eventually, but what does fine look like? I don't know if he's going to be working out over Labor Day weekend. I need you punting here in the Mile High City in this thin air. We have got to set up this defense and this offense for success. It starts with special teams. I'm curious about the rookie punter. And String Guy always coming in here fast and furious on Wednesday nights. Chad, Luke, or Scott, do you guys think that this O-line is athletically talented enough to run the outside run scheme, zone scheme?
The tackles are for sure. And I think Miners and Wattenberg might not be Ben Powers' forte per se, but remember, this is not, we're basing our entire run scheme around outside zone. We don't even know the full extent yet to which it's going to feature in the offense. All we know is that multiple offensive linemen, and then we witnessed it in the preseason game, some outside stretch stuff, but multiple offensive linemen. I want to say Bowles, Miners. I don't think it was McGlinchey. I think it was Bowles and Miners even mentioned it. That's how we knew at first that was getting installed as a wrinkle. Luke, I don't expect it to be anything more than a wrinkle, only because Sean Payton has just been traditionally power gap, right? And his offensive line is mostly built around that, his scheme, etc. So I do think they have the horses. It's more about mindset wise and I guess technique does, Luke, play a part in it. And you look back at some of those Mike Shanahan offensive lines. I mean, you had starting interior guards that were like 270. I mean, what was Ben Hamilton? Ben Hamilton was light, right? So the Broncos are obviously a lot bigger than that, but and times have changed. That was a long time ago. But nevertheless, I wouldn't worry too much about it, String Guy.
Well, and how about the principle that is still similar to being athletically talented enough to open up an outside run scheme? How about what Sean Payton demands from this offensive line in the passing game as it relates to running backs? These running backs have to be able to catch the football. Yeah, some pass protection's nice, and Sean will say it's the most important thing in the world. I think what Sean really wants a sneaky running back out there against the linebacker. He's looking for those easy mismatches that shouldn't be overlooked by any offensive or defensive coordinator. If these linemen that represent your starting 5 Denver Broncos can't get out and move, then there's a problem with this offense, because Sean's offense is predicated on being fast-paced. It can go sideline to sideline. It can go north and south. It all depends on how coach wants to call it. Are you going to stay committed to your young quarterback and go pass happy, trying to prove everybody wrong? Or are you going to go for a balanced attack? You're going to utilize your defense. You're going to supplement with your special teams when and if you can. That's the biggest question right now in Broncos country. The talent is there. They've put in a lot of hard work this offseason. Now it's time to put everything to the test. Enough with the Super Bowl expectations. Enough with the national media tour. Let's go tighten up, if you will.
Hey, shouts here to Justin in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Longtime listener, dude. Great to have you in the house with us, big dog. Appreciate you being there all this time. And by the way, guys, who's talking about Charvel guitars? Joe Mannix? Guys, listen, we don't want you interpreting any of this around as negative. We're not, dude, the Broncos are in really good shape. Let's be clear about this. I still see this team as a double-digit winning club. I still see them being a bona fide threat to unseat the Chiefs in the AFC West. And if you unseat the Chiefs in the West, you're probably unseating everybody else, including Baltimore and Buffalo in the AFC. Cincy, we'll see how Cincy shapes up. We'll get a nice little taste of that. What is it, Week 4, Monday Night Football, Joe Burrow? That's going to be a game to remember. But the Broncos are in good shape, guys. I mean, that's one of the hallmarks, I think, of the conversation, why we're focusing on or talking about throughout different stretches of our conversation tonight, Luke. Yeah, we're mentioning what are we worried about, or where are some of the holes in the boat, like Gary was asking us, etc. It's because things are looking really good, but how can they look even better? And it's been a while, Luke, since we've been able to sit back and go, okay, you got the quarterback, the coach, the defense, right? You've got the offensive line. I mean, these are the building blocks. These are what it takes to go the distance. And there's a reason Sean Payton's kind of putting himself out there and the team by doing so, talking about the Super Bowl before the cleats have even hit the grass. So I don't want there to be like Big Earn talking about, hey, you guys are being too negative. hey, we're just answering the questions, big dog, and giving our honest thoughts. But I think both of us are pretty excited about how 2025 is shaping up for the Broncos.
Absolutely, man. And look, there are those that can make excuses for absolutely everything, but we're not having to do that. You know why? Because we're no longer desperate here in Broncos country. How about that? That feels kind of nice. I don't know about you, Chad, but I'm really entertained right now by this whole Micah Parsons Dallas Cowboys situation. You know why? Because the Broncos don't have to be a part of it. We know who our pass rushers are. We know where the money's eventually going to go, and Nick Bonito's going to get it. Jonathan Cooper's taken care of. Big Cat Zach Allen's ready to rock and roll. So it's nice not to be desperate. You have to try to share some level of objectivity in this business. It's what we strive to do here at MHH, and here every Wednesday night, whoever is on this show, we're always trying to give a fair and balanced piece of analysis to the Broncos. Are we excited? Yes. Are we rooting for them? Yes. But that doesn't mean there aren't going to be stumbles this year. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be heartbreaking moments. But that is truly what makes the season so exciting. We have no idea how it's going to start. My favorite thing when the season starts is every single coach on all 32 teams are like, we got to start fast. Well, the Broncos started really, really bad last year, Chad. I remember talking to you about it at the meet and greet. We're like, oh, man, these things are looking a little rough here. And then what a switch. How quickly it happened, you never know. And that is truly the beauty of professional football, why we are so excited to start the regular season with all of you next week here at MHH.
No doubt about it. It's going to be fun, guys. Pearl wants to know, one of our great members, realistically, how many of the players on the practice squad will eventually make it to what she's asking is the 53-man roster? Well, each week, you got to keep in mind, Pearl, each week the Broncos will elevate 2 players from the practice squad to dress for the game. I mean, they've done it. I can't think of a week since that's been a rule that they haven't elevated 2 people. So 2 guys, and then each player can be elevated 3 times before you have to waive them, before you can re-sign them back to the practice squad. So you'll see, for example, Adam Prentice, the fullback, I imagine, Luke, get some decent, a few of those elevations going through it. I don't know about Sam Ehlinger, we'll see, but
you'll get LaBelle Bailey in there. We know that right away. Why do we know that? Because you've got a really injured inside linebacker room. That's not me being negative. Yeah. That's just spitting facts. You've got guys that have either spent significant time, they're coming off of an injury, or they're still currently dealing with one. I'm thrilled that LaVelle Bailey made his way back around, Chad. I know we hinted at it just a little bit earlier in the show, but look out for LaVelle Bailey at the inside linebacker position. I think this is a guy you will absolutely see during the season for multiple games.
And a lot of it is dictated by the injury bug, but let's put that off to the side. Guys on the practice squad currently, who I expect you'll see at least dress a few times this year: Sam Ehlinger, Calvin Throckmorton, the interior offensive lineman, as Luke just mentioned, LaVelle Bailey, Adam Prentice, possibly Dellerin Turner-Yell, again, even though they carried 5 safeties, which is another surprise. Depends on injuries, etc. there. I don't think you'll see Caleb Lohner this year, barring some kind of catastrophe, but maybe Jordan Miller, the defensive lineman, Keydron Smith, again, a safety. The corners are pretty deep, but they only carried 5. So if there's even one injury, and you know it'll happen, there will at least be one injury, one game where a guy's nicked up. Could be Moss, could be McMillan. Let's hope it's not Surtain, but Surtain did miss basically 2 games last year. Let's not forget. So the corners could get their number called. I like Jaden Robinson a lot when it comes to the practice squad, but I'd say probably half of them you'll probably see elevated onto the roster with those short-term elevations without boring you about what that all means again, etc.
It's important, Chad. I know it's easy to overlook sitting here on August 27th, the last MHI before the regular season. I mean, it's easy to overlook those things, but they are going to matter. Just like Deanna Hendry has been showing up in a huge way week in and week out during this training camp, not only for MHI, but for MHH as a whole, with very generous gifts and donations. We will get to that in just a second, but let's get over to Deanna's comments. Listen, guys, I was sad to hear Jackson got picked up by Seattle, but the Broncos still looking pretty good overall with a generous $50 over on YouTube, an exclusive member of the MHH community. Thank you very much, Deanna.
Love you, Lady D. Really appreciate you. I'm still looking for that hat that you're after. I did even a Google Lens search, and there's nowhere to be found. So she's after a specific Broncos hat that Sean Payton has worn. That's blue hat, Bronco logo, and then it has an orange line through the middle. And I don't see it anywhere for sale commercially, to be frank with you, Lady D, just for what it's worth. But I'm keeping an eye on it for you. And yeah, it's a bummer. Also, I mean, she threw down 10 gift memberships for people that are currently in this chat because she is legend. She's a legend. We love her. But Jackson, that's a bummer. Yeah. Especially in the, one day later development that Marvin Mims has a little bit of a groin thing going on. So we'll see there. But also Caden Priestcorn, who is a tight end, Luke, that impressed me quite a lot in the preseason. Not only did he pass through waivers unclaimed, but the Broncos did not re-sign him to the practice squad. That kind of bummed me out a little because I think he was deserving of it. And I think he could have meant something to this team, but they're erring on the side of the athletic upside guy in Loner.
Well, I think what's bumming me out and Deanna out in Broncos country about Jackson also is where he went. I will always have a disdain for the Seattle Seahawks. Can't stand them. Don't like anything about them. It's because of what they did at Super Bowl 48. I just can't stand those guys. So I'm with you, Deanna. But you know what? The Broncos offense is shaping up okay. A.T. Perry is back. We will take that. You did get some compensation from Bailey. Marvin Mims, again, today, tweaked his groin just a little bit. Didn't finish practice. Coach isn't particularly expressing worry, if you will, when he talked to Jeff Legwell. And you can read about Marvin Mims's minor injury over at milehighhuddle.com. Big thank you to Deanna. And we really appreciate your generosity. Again, gifting MHI and MHH's audience 10 Mile High Huddle memberships. What's a Mile High Huddle membership, if you ask? Well, first things first, head on over to YouTube and make sure that you are subscribing to this platform. You are going to have awesome exclusive content only available to members this 2025 season. Starting this next week, the regular season is on. We have a very exciting plan for Broncos country and a huge, huge season ahead of us here at MHH. Big thank you to Deanna for taking care of everybody here at Mile High Huddle.
I'm just realizing, Lady D, I've got some reading to do because tomorrow is at noon Mountain Time is our fill-in episode for Broncos Book Club. Members only. We're reading The Elway Years by Mike Kliss, and we're doing chapters 6 and 7. Got to have those under our belt by noon tomorrow. Normally, of course, Broncos Book Club is Saturdays at the same time, noon Mountain. But because of the weekend, I'm going to be gone. We're doing it on Thursday. Plus Kelberman's Corner, plus other stuff that we've got cooking involving all the hosts this season. Trust me, you want to become a member. If you're in these chats every single night with us, whether it's MHI, my show, any of the shows, you want to spring to, even if it's the lowest level, to become a member so you don't miss any of the action. But Kirsten, she's also giving props to the Lady D, saying, Deanna, you're awesome for doing that night after night for people. And she has. I bet Deanna has gifted somewhere approximating 50 memberships to people over the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been amazing. And William says, Lady D, the unofficial patron saint of MHH. Not unofficial. Official. She's official. You feel me? No doubt about it. We love you. Appreciate you.
It's so awesome, man. Generosity in this world truly goes a long way. And it's great to see Broncos country taking care of their own because we need each other. We got to take care of each other in this world and in this crazy season that is coming ahead. We are down to our final 10, if you want to call it that. It is your time to react. Let us know. We'll give you a shout out over in the comment section. Who'd you like on the initial roster? Who do you wish you still had? We're reacting to Marvin Mims and a potential groin setback, if you will. Shouldn't be anything too serious. What are your expectations for the season? We can get into anything and everything in these final 10. They are truly for yours. Just like our guy, Greg Smith. What's up, Greg? It's been a minute, man. I know you are ready for football season over on Facebook. Good to see you, G. Will Ellinger actually dress on game day? Chad, you know Sean Payton is a quarterback at heart. He hasn't met a quarterback he doesn't love, doesn't think he could fix. What's this fixation, if you will, on Sam Ellinger?
I don't know. I mean, he's a lot of fun to watch. He's definitely a try-hard guy. He's a preseason legend. And I can't remember who said it earlier in the chat, but I think this was a great way to say it. He's an excellent break glass in case of an emergency quarterback. I mean, just that prayer he threw up in the preseason finale that was caught by what was his name? Kyrese Rowan. I mean, it wasn't just a prayer. You saw him at the very end. He flicked that wrist to make sure it got where he went, even though he's like going the opposite direction. He's just got some of that juice, and the guys dig him, love him. Will he dress on game day? So here's the thing. The NFL vetoed the third. So NFL teams can dress 3 quarterbacks, and that third quote unquote emergency quarterback won't count against the 46 dresses of the day. Because if you got 53 guys, you can only dress 46 for some stupid reason. That's never made sense to me. If you got 53 guys on the roster, why can you not dress them all? That's never made sense to me. But nevertheless, you cannot in the NFL, but you can dress a emergency quarterback. However, not if he's a practice squad guy. So you can elevate him though. I believe he would count against your 46. So I digress here a little bit, but will he dress on game day? I don't know. I think he will a few times, but my guess here, Luke, is they'll probably end up promoting him to the 53 at the expense of a guy like a Devin Key or, Jackson on the defensive line, something like that at some point. Right now, though, they don't necessarily feel the need to because the season is young and their top 2 quarterbacks are also young.
We're about the same age. Who was it? What was the name of the lady, the psychic? Was it Cleo that you could call the 1-800 show in? Hey, Cleo, tell me my future back in the day. Well, sometimes I like to do that with the Broncos, and I start to wonder, what if a starting quarterback goes down right before week 1 and the Broncos are fielding calls on Jarrett Stidham? Do you pick up the phone? Of course you do. You at least hear what other teams have to say. I am in no way, shape, or form suggesting that Jarrett Stidham is on the trade block and the Broncos are trying to get rid of him. Would it upset me if they did? Absolutely not. Do I try to run him out of town? No, there's no reason for it. He's a robot quarterback that Sean Payton loves on the grease board. He will be here. But I always kind of wonder, I wonder if somebody would kick the tires on Jarrett Stidham. What would that mean for Sam Ehlinger? Well, that means you're the Broncos backup quarterback behind Bo Chapman-Nix. It'll be interesting to see how things develop. And speaking of develop, oh my goodness, in a huge way, the Ronk is coming hot over on YouTube. Another member of the MHH community, exclusive member, I might add, $50 over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Ronk. Means a lot. Great show tonight. Chad and Luke on the Mile High Insiders. Go Bo Broncos. You guys have asked for it multiple times. When's the next time Chad and Luke are going to be on? When can we mix up some of the hosts? Well, some of that's going to be happening. You just got to become an MHH exclusive member, and you're going to be seeing some fun mix-ups here in the season. Thanks a lot, Mike. It means a lot.
Much love, brother. A member. He's been a long time our Facebook, kind of the mayor of MHH Facebook. Then he comes over onto YouTube. He's trying to be more active on YouTube because of my call to action, letting everybody know that Facebook has not been kind to publishers and creators lately. And so we're investing instead in YouTube. And so Ronk's over there throwing down supers, becoming a member, just being an all-around legendary, mythical Mount Rushmore super supporter and member of MHH. So much love and respect, big dog. Thank you so much. I don't know what we'd do without you. And also, we got Boss Man Jay becoming a YouTube member live in the chat. Flex him. There he goes. Boss Man Jay. Appreciate you, buddy. Welcome to the manger. And with that, guys, we're right up against it, Luke, here in terms of the time. So I think we're there,
man. Yeah, fun show, dude. We're going to be doing a lot of these throughout the season. We're going to be mixing it up. You never know what you're going to get, who's going to stop by every Wednesday night here on MHI. Tom should be back in the saddle with me in the regular season next week. Chad, I can't believe it, man. I am so excited. I get a little nervous, right? Palm sweaty, mom spaghetti, all that stuff, because it's right around the corner. This is the moment we've all been waiting for since that disastrous day in Buffalo months and months ago. We turned the page to the 2025 Broncos. It's interesting, first Sunday in September just happens to be the very first Broncos game. That is going to be the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward coming to the Mile High City. We get you game ready this next week here at Mile High Huddle. Head on over to milehighhuddle.com. Check out all of our latest, including the practice squad additions today and the 53-man initial roster. We are tracking all of these acquisitions, releases, any transaction related to your Broncos, we got you covered. Also, head on over to X. That's at Mile High Huddle. If you'd like to reach out to yours truly, at Luke Patterson LP, at Chad and Jensen. Also, get this pod's numbers up. That's at MHI_pod. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, that's huge, guys. The way too few followers on MHI Twitter. Guys, help us on that. At MHI_pod.
I know
Please,
we're crushing views, we're crushing super chats, we're rocking and rolling. We got to crush it over on X as well. You can catch us over on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, wherever you get it. Spotify, iTunes after the fact. We really, really appreciate it. Broncos country into the regular season. This is the way.
This is the way.